Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
The NCAA tournament's East region flexes an insane amount of talent. Also, the Lakers are on an absolute tear right now. And our first 8-9 matchup of the NCAA tournament should be a banger. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that college basketball excitement into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
The best coaches in college hoops shine in the NCAA tournament, and no region boasts a better batch of high-profile coaches than the East. Over on Amazon Fire TV's Bracket Breakdown, Locked On college basketball hosts Andy Patton and Isaac Shade shared their thoughts on how the East will shake out, considering the amount of coaching talent that will butt heads over the next few weeks.
For the X Factor in this episode, we are dialing into the East region and the coaching royalty that lives in that part of the bracket. The coaches in the East collectively have 7 national championships. 6 of these coaches have been to a Final Four, and 4 of these coaches have won a national championship. No shortage of star power when you look at some of the faces on the bottom of your screen. Now, Andy, what is the impact of having this type of coach with this type of experience, that type of resume on the bench as you look to make a run in an NCAA tournament?
Well, Colin, I think it's everything. I mean, it's so important to have a coach who's done this, who's been there before, who's won these games, not just from a perspective of being able to coach your X's and O's through the game and get you a victory and move you on to the next round, but in terms of roster construction, in terms of knowing, especially in the transfer portal NIL era, it's not easy to put together a roster that's going to win and it's going to compete. We've seen that with some young coaches at some really high-profile programs who have struggled to put together rosters that can truly compete. These coaches who've done it before, who've been to a Final Four, they have proven they know how to do that, and I think it matters a ton collectively in this sport. But I want to get the expertise of somebody who's maybe been there before. So, Jesse, let's start with you. What do you think about the experience that these coaches have and how important that might be in March?
Yeah, Andy, you're absolutely right. When you're talking about on the sideline, right, the moments don't get too big for these coaches because the NCAA tournament, it usually comes down to, for the most part, to about 1 or 2 possessions a game, and it doesn't matter what can you do with those possessions. Do you have the right call? Do you have the right situational awareness of who's hot right now? What does the matchup look like? But also, when it comes to the practice time, right? These games happen quickly, back to back. Every other day these games happen. But what does that week look like leading up to that? Who needs a rest? It's been a long season. These tournaments that you have, your conference tournaments, you play 3 games in 4 days sometimes. So just being able to manage that as well and just really having a pulse on the team, on your players in these moments, I think that's critical. And these coaches have a ton of experience, so they know how to handle those situations.
I would piggyback that as well in the terms of they're your leader out there. They're who all these players are looking to. No matter who you are, what you want to say, when you're going into the NCAA tournament, you're going to be a little nervous out there, at least as a player. Even if it's not your first time out there, it's the tournament, right? It's the big dance. So you look at your coach to put you in situations, where you can be successful. Yep. How can we get somebody going here, like a Darren Peterson? How can we get somebody a bucket so that way maybe they see one go in and they're going to lead us to victory here? And that's a lot of that is where you look at these guys who've done it before. They're the ones that can lead you to the promised land.
When you look at some of these blue bloods that are in this East region, you've got names like Hurley, Self, Pitino, Izzo, Isaac. Who do you feel the most confident in if you're a player on the floor with that individual being on the sideline?
Bill Self, for me. I have said for a while now, I believe he is one of the best coaches there is. And it's a multitude of these things. And I'm curious which of these guys thinks, from an in-game standpoint, matters most. But with Bill Self, it's the X's and O's, the blob plays, the baseline out of bounds. It's the after timeouts, any of those kind of things. But he is such a chill customer, cool, calm, and collected. I feel like his team, Gordon was just talking about Darren Peterson, but the way he's managed all of that madness this season with helping Melvin Council be ready and Trey White be ready and all of these guys in any given moment when DP's like, I'm sorry, I'm out, I got to check myself out. How many times has he done that this year, right?
Yeah.
And so Bill Self's ability to keep that locker room together, even in the midst of that, man, it's so good. He's won multiple championships, as multiple of these guys have. But for me, it's Bill Self. And I just, if I was picking, Send me to Lawrence, Kansas.
Can't be mad at that. Attitude reflects leadership, and Bill Self, he definitely is one of those leaders you can get behind.
Would you say someone different?
No, I would say Bill Self as well. I think he is the creme de la creme of these coaches. When you look at what he's able to do, he continues to have the great talent. You know, because it's one thing to have great talent, but the hardest thing for these coaches, how do you manage that talent? You look at the Darren Peterson situation, it's like, well, I have one of the best players in the country who doesn't play all the time, and I still have to manage that while also having a locker room full of guys that's looking around and saying, well, Coach, how does he continue to get to be able to do this? And we have to show up every day. We have to play every day. He gets paid probably the most money in NIL, and he has all these different privileges. He plays when he wants. He pulls himself out of a game. That's a tough thing to manage throughout the personalities throughout the locker room, because everybody now feels in the social media era that they're all the man, no matter what.
Kylan, I'm curious. I want to hear from Gordon on this. Like how players, though, might determine the answer to this question, because you've got some fiery guys here like Tom Izzo, like Danny Hurley, for example, right?
Nick Cronin,
and so it's like my personality would not do well with Tom Izzo, but he and his players have this rapport where he's going to go yell at Jeremy Fears, but Jeremy Fears knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that Tom Izzo has his back. So, Gordon, as you're thinking about picking the answer to a question like this, does your personality as a person and as an athlete play into that kind of conversation?
Yeah, I mean, I think what it comes down to is the relationship that you build with your coach. You know what I mean? And I think that starts early on, having the trust that I know that he's going to yell at me in front of the team, but I know that also that he's going to put me, like I said, in positions where I can be successful and make a game-winning shot. And you build that trust with player, coach. You know that he wants what's best for you, what's best for the team. The answer to me, I look at a guy like Coach Hurley. I like the way that he controls things and he gets his guys good shots. You want to talk about running some good sets, and it's not necessarily just like here's the ball and go get a bucket. It's you're watching their offense go back and forth and really getting some good looks. So I like the way he runs things.
Stay up to date all year on college hoops by subscribing to Locked On College Basketball on your favorite podcast app. Your Locked On Sports today. Coming up, the Lakers have been on fire, but the Rockets desperately needed a win. Before that, Andy Dalton is still kicking. College basketball is nonstop. Big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. From early tip-offs to late night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want. You want to pick a number 1 seed. You want to pick a 5-12. You want to pick a 12 seed, a 13 seed, a 14 seed. You're feeling frisky. You're feeling crazy. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the slate playing out. Then you apply that profit boost and instantly bump up your potential payout. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season long. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. We had a head-scratching trade on Wednesday afternoon when the Eagles traded for Panthers quarterback Andy Dalton.
All right, super weird trade to get into, but the Philadelphia Eagles have acquired Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle from the Carolina Panthers, for a 2027 7th-round pick. Definitely the weirdest move of the offseason for Howie Roseman and the Philadelphia Eagles, but I do think this could mean, that Tanner McKee has some trade value still across the NFL. There's not a lot of teams that have starting quarterback jobs still left open, but I think about the Pittsburgh Steelers. They still have not brought back Aaron Rodgers. The Arizona Cardinals missed out on Malik Willis. They have Jacoby Brissett and Gardner Minshew, but that doesn't really move the needle. Maybe they think Tanner McKee could be their starter in 2026. Maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers are trying to look into a plan B if it's not Aaron Rodgers. I would get then the Eagles wanting to make sure they have a proven, established quarterback 2 behind Jalen Hurts, but there's a lot of backup quarterback options still in the open market. Trading a pick for a 38-year-old, I don't know, that feels weird to me.
Now that the Celtics have acquired the last Infinity Stone known as Jason Tatum, the Golden State Warriors proved to be no match.
Boston Celtics get the best combined night of the season from Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum and cruise past the Golden State Warriors. I'm John Corrales from the Locked On Celtics podcast. It started out with Jason Tatum getting hot. Jaylen Brown took over from there and had 19 points in the first quarter. They had 56 combined by the end. Just a monster night, and it's tough to beat the Celtics when those two guys are playing like this, which is amazing because I didn't think I'd be saying that about those two guys at this point, but Jason Tatum continues to look better and better and better in his return from Achilles surgery. It really is mind-blowing, and I can't stop saying that because it remains true. The Warriors obviously decimated. It was nice to see Kristaps Porzingis. The Celtics defensively let Draymond Green shoot. He was 3 of 7 from 3, but you take away his playmaking ability, and that's what gives Golden State their best chance at winning. Good production from the bench from the Celtics, and shout out Jaylen Brown, 10th all-time in Celtics scoring. You go back to the trade, Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, the two guys they got in those 2 first-round picks, 2 of the first-round picks, are now your 9th and 10th all-time leading scorers, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Not a bad return. I'll be talking about it all on the Locked On Celtics podcast.
And in the NHL, the Stars matched up with the Avalanche.
The Avalanche played the Stars for the 3rd time this season, tonight at home at Ball Arena, and for the 3rd time this season, it goes to a shootout. Wyatt Johnston ends up with the game winner, beating Scott Wedgwood in the shootout for the only point scored. Otherwise, Wedgwood had an absolutely phenomenal game. In fact, I think pretty much most everybody on the Avs feel pretty good about that game. This was an amazing game from start to finish. Give me this. I will take this. This is playoff hockey. This is fun hockey. Fast paced. The Avs really probably deserve to win that game. I think they played a phenomenal defensive game, a phenomenal offensive game, and Scott Wedgwood came up huge when he needed to. The Avs kill off 2 penalties against one of the best power plays in the league, and they go 1 for 2 on their power play tonight. So all sorts of things are very positive about this game. And it was just a really fun hockey game to watch, too. So we're going to break down the whole thing on the next Locked On Avalanche. Be sure that you're checking that out. We'll see you there.
The Lakers rode a 6-game win streak into their contest with the Rockets on Wednesday night. They're playing defense at a higher level than we've seen almost all season, and they suddenly look like the team everyone in Lakerland told us they could be. Locked On Lakers host Brian and Andy Kamenetsky reacted to yet another heroic performance from Luka and LeBron in Houston.
Luka finishes with 40 points on 12 of 25 shooting, 7 of 17 from three-point range, 9 rebounds, 10 assists. I think about the only mean thing you could say about the guy is he missed too many free throws, I guess.
Yeah, he had 5 turnovers. That's too many. A couple of them were just bad decisions, but my word, down the stretch of this game, Luka was just making killer backbreaking play after killer backbreaking play against Houston, just demoralizing every bit of spirit that they would possibly have to think that they could keep exchanging blows with the Lakers. Like, this was a game the Lakers were up 11 at the half. They were pretty bad in the third quarter. I mean, they were just sloppy on both sides of the ball. They turned the ball over, I believe, 7 times in the third quarter alone, which Houston turned into 13 points off those turnovers. I thought the shot selection.
Not to interrupt you, but just so people, for context, the Lakers only had 13 turnovers in the game.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I thought they gave up 26 points off turnovers. Half came in that quarter. I thought the shot selection by more or less everybody devolved, and it put them often on their heels defensively and in bad positions. But they, as we've seen a lot during this now 7-game winning streak that the Lakers are on right now, and they are playing some of the best basketball in the league. One of the commonalities, and I think this matters a lot, particularly when you start thinking about the playoffs, they keep maintaining their composure. Like, even when they start making mistakes, even when things start breaking down, they're not losing their heads. And I think, I brought this up in the last game against Houston where, those guys just went on tilt. But I thought the Rockets spent a lot of the first half, and then certainly the last few minutes of that game, losing some of their cool. The last minute or so, I don't know what their strategy was with fouling, but I would check out the film again because they wasted a lot of time.
I think you're better off actually saying that there was no strategy.
Yeah.
The
Lakers were the more composed team.
They were, absolutely. They were more composed. And the thing about it too is like, the same thing happened on Monday. Like, you have a lead, you give up a lead and all that kind of stuff. But like, these are good teams the Lakers are playing. Like, you're almost never going to lead wire to wire against really good teams. And it's the value of part of the value of having the big three now playing well. So you're winning those minutes more often than losing them, and often winning them big, is that, you're getting off to good starts. You're building up early leads, second half leads, halftime leads, whatever. Inevitably, good opposition is going to go on a 15-2 run, a 14-6 run, whatever it might be. But the thing about it is, if you're up by 12, if you're up by 8, if you're up by whatever, and you give up a 10-point run, you're still in the game. You might be losing, but you're still in the game. So like the Lakers, they fell down by, I think, as much as 5, but on Wednesday, I think. I'd have to look at it. But like, they never lost touch with Houston, in part because they're now winning these early minutes. They did it. We'll get deeper into LeBron as the show goes on. But, particularly early in the game, they were really aggressive defensively. They forced a lot of bad shots and turnovers. They got out in the open floor. LeBron, who hit a couple early threes, then was just a dunk fest for LeBron for the rest of the game. Luka, strong start for Luka. Like, everything, they had this hop and rhythm, and you could tell the Lakers knew, like, not only is this an important game for us, it's an important game that we know we can win.
Coming up, styles make fights, and one of the best scorers in college ball has a tall task on the horizon in the NCAA tournament. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets change the game. It's people moving the action, so when momentum shifts, you can move with it. I always knew the game, but never had a dynamic way to apply that knowledge. Now I can actually take part live in a market powered by people. You're no longer just a spectator, play-by-play. You decide. Trade every play with Robinhood, now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Futures and cleared swaps trade involving significant risk and is not appropriate for everyone. Event contracts are offered by Robinhood Derivatives, LLC, a registered future commission merchant and swap firm. Ohio State's Bruce Thornton is one of college basketball's premier bucket getters, essentially willing the Buckeyes to the NCAA tournament. However, he'll have his hands full at TCU in the round of 64. Locked On Horned Frogs host Darian Gray previewed what should be a clash of styles on the hardwood in Greenville.
Now we keep talking, and I want to transition into a conversation around speed. Speed. At the end of the day, it's all about how fast TCU will play, how fast Ohio State will play. Because as I was looking into the advanced stats, shout out to my guy Lance from Locked On Kentucky, because he really put me on game here. We are all on Kim Pom, We're talking about all of that. But I asked a question because Ohio State is actually one of the better shooting teams in the country. They are one of the better shooting teams in the country. And I thought to myself, if they shoot really well, why are they not one of the better scoring teams? And I didn't know if it was because of turnovers. I looked at turnovers. They're not a turnover heavy team. I was confused. They're also one of the slowest playing teams in the country, both offensively and how slow they force you to play defensively. And this is going to change things because TCU is a fast moving offense. So now the question becomes, between TCU and Ohio State, who's going to play their game? Ohio State wants to slow you down. Ohio State, as it currently ranks, is 251st in offensive tempo, meaning they're going to drain the clock. We've seen this with Houston. This is a thing that the Cougars do as well. They're going to drain the clock before they put up shots, which means you are naturally going to get less opportunities, and they also don't turn the ball over a lot. So it's not as if you're going to force, or statistically history this year, whatever you want to look at it. This season would suggest you're not going to force a lot of turnovers out of Ohio State. So what you got to do is you got to make sure that you get the defensive boards, because if they get the offensive boards, unless it's a clear shot, they're going to reset and they're going to trip the clock again. Then defensively, they tend to make people take a long time before they get their shots there too. Opposing offenses take, I think it was like 18 something. It was about 18 seconds to get into the shots. And that's 309th in the nation. So you're looking at a situation where when Ohio State has the ball, they take forever. They take forever. And this is a good thing for them. They take forever to get into their sets. They take forever to put up a shot. And that doesn't even mean if they get offensive rebounds and reset the shot clock. So it takes a long time for them. That being said, when TCU gets the ball, they like to run. They like to push. I don't love the setups sometimes, but when they get to move and they're in transition, it wins for them. When they're able to play fast, it wins for them. Yeah, that's not what Ohio State allows. TCU is top 70 in tempo, so they're one of the fastest teams in the country. Ohio State is one of the slowest teams in the country, and they force teams to be slow better than most teams in the country. So I don't care what TCU does defensively. Ohio State's going to play slow. That's just their brand of basketball. Now, can TCU speed them up? Can TCU speed up Ohio State? Can they get to run in the court? And now this is the type of game we're playing because that favors the Frogs. Can Ohio State slow it down?
And finally, Jack Hughes might have scored the golden goal, but the puck, not his, apparently. The Hockey Hall of Fame shut down Hughes' hopes of getting it back, saying the puck was officially collected, authenticated, and donated through the IIHF's process, making it part of the museum's permanent collection. Hughes called the move, well, something we can't repeat here. Just know he wasn't too happy about it. He argued that players should keep those kinds of historic mementos, especially one that delivered Team USA its first Olympic gold since 1980. The Hall's response was far less emotional. It's not about sentiment. It's about preservation. Great moment, incredible shot, sure, but that puck's already behind glass. Coming up, the first four is over, and the rest of the NCAA tournament bracket is officially getting underway, so at least until tomorrow. Stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.